Hey everybody, this is Old School Volume 2, and this is us appearing for the first time in 4K, or this is what GoPro says. It's less than 4,000 lines across, so it's not really 4K, but that's what they call it. Anyway, so we're getting ready to go to Halloween Horror Nights. It is actually Halloween itself. This is the 1.5, Volume 1.5 of the Awesome Mix. And so, looks like we're going to be on our way. Got my doggies with me. Not backing up in the hole. There's a hole in the parking lot if you watched one of our videos.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Brian.
Now, Dave, do you think it'll rain?
It's Halloween Horror Nights, so of course it will.
Nah, maybe not.
Well, if you're still watching, then it isn't raining. But
oh yeah.
But if it was raining, then Brian will say.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, we're now waiting for a garbage truck, which is blocking the road. Not very Halloween. So we're gonna shoot more stuff in line and maybe like something else while we're driving. So if you're still watching, then cool, because most people aren't watching by now. So we're gonna get to it. Beep beep. Hey YouTube. This is part 2 of the old school video. This is a total wrap up. We're not going to go over the same thing we've already talked about. This is just the stuff that's happened since we shot right after the opening weekend. And so I thought you were going to wear your costume like you did last time.
Well, where's your zombie outfit? Where's that?
Okay, I guess yeah.
So what are we going to do?
Oh, that was easy.
Yep.
All right, so we didn't have enough time to shoot the whole thing in the hotel room to make it old school, but we figured at least put a little bit in there because I had to get up early and go to a barbecue, and it was late to that as it was. So again, this is the old school wrap up. If you're still watching, you're one of the few. And I've got some notes, and you've got some notes.
Right.
Again, this is things we haven't talked about, things that have happened, because we shot the original stand-up thing like a few days after opening night, and then we went several times after that, including Halloween.
Finally, it was a good choice.
Yes. So first, Googles and Gore.
Isn't that Giggles and Gore?
Oh yes.
Search engine optimization.
Basically, I set up my editing system, and I put all the names in, and then that exported and went to YouTube, and that whole process, I didn't catch that I spelled Googles instead of Giggles. Other things we noticed, even though we went through some of the lines during the day, it seemed like there were more projectors out later in the event. And I mean, those are hard to miss because they've got these big towers, they're covered up, and you know the projector cases were really big. So I don't know, maybe the one or two people who are watching still can correct us. Maybe they were there the whole time since opening night, but we didn't see them originally.
But several things do change from opening night on through the event. You know, like they decide, okay, this doesn't work. We should add this. You know, maybe put a projector here. They might not have expected we didn't notice a projector at AVP, and they might not have predicted that AVP would be so busy and put up a projector to keep people entertained while they're in line.
It seems like after 24 years, they'd be able to project things like that better, predict things like that better.
Yeah, but it's always changing, so
like the night needs, it's always changing.
Yeah.
The flames on the masquerade candles. I know I went back and looked at the pictures. I think the flames were there, but we didn't see it on until like right near the end of the event. So maybe someone walked through, maybe like the designer came through and was like, "Hey guys, these are supposed to be lit up."
They're candles.
I mean, that's a wild guess. I have no idea. We just know that we didn't notice them lit up until like the final weekend. It's like, oh.
And they did put, I do believe they did put some sort of almost like rags or maybe cobwebs along the cables that suspend the chandelier over Masquerade.
I was going to check on that. I'm pretty sure that was there from the beginning, but
I think
I meant to look at that first.
I think at the start it was just wires, and then they added to it.
So, speaking of which, the chandelier, as far as I can tell, it was like it was solidly on when opening night. Then we went back and it was like, oh, it's slowly pulsating, brighter and quiet and darker. I didn't notice that before either. We never got to see the human sacrifice because a bunch of people whined and they stopped doing it.
That is a big disappointment to me, and probably to you.
Yeah.
You go to an event like Halloween Horror Nights, you pretty much expect you're gonna see horror.
I think the human sacrifice wasn't a scary thing as much as it was like offensive to certain people.
Yes, which is
That's my guess.
Sort of understandable, but I mean, even so, it's a voodoo themed area. You figured they'd have a voodoo human sacrifice.
Whatever it was, they
didn't take the shack down, but that was nice. But we missed the show, and
the woman who played the person who did this human sacrifice, because we watched it on YouTube afterwards, was still wandering around.
Yeah. So at least it didn't. It's disappointing to miss the human sacrifice, though.
And before we lose any more viewers to this video, I want to say that I did put up today, I haven't told you, the audio from the final Bill and Ted show this year. It's bootleg quality at best, so don't expect much. I've recorded it with my phone. It distorted a lot, but it's there. And
outside of the show, you get to hear the crowd really into it, So and that's always a treat.
Which is cool. So we saw it how many times? We saw it 4 times?
I believe so.
Yeah. And of course, it's always awesome to go to the final show of the year, even though it was freezing cold. The wind made it worse.
Yeah.
But we we were standing in line for Halloween, and you said how much of a priority is the Bill and Ted show? I'm like, that's the only reason we're here this weekend, really.
Yeah. We got to see every house twice, right? Except for Halloween.
Most houses. We saw some 3 times.
Yeah. We never made it back into Halloween. We were primarily curious about the projections.
Yeah. We tried to, but it was like 40 minutes in when we were still had line to go.
Yeah.
But so back to Halloween night. We can't say this is every year, but this year we've been thinking about going on Halloween. We were going to go last year, but I think you were working. I think I was working, or maybe I was working, you weren't, something like that. And we didn't get to go. And we're like, we don't want to go on Halloween. Halloween's gonna be crazy. There's gonna be people everywhere. You're not be able to move. Not the case at all. It was, I think, the least crowded night that we went was Halloween.
It got a little bit busier later on at the night, but not too bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah.
We went through like 3 houses in an hour.
Yeah.
And even The Walking Dead, I think, capped off at I think it was 45 minutes, was it?
No, 75.
75 minutes the entire night.
Yeah.
I think it was 45 when we went.
Because we were like, 45, let's get in there. And then...
Yeah, it was like near the end of the night. But before that, every time I checked the app or the website, it said it's 75 minutes. Mm-hmm. Which other nights it's been up to 180 minutes. So, it's a lot, but not nearly as much. So, do you want to do a couple of yours?
Okay, very quickly, just if you ever go to Halloween Horror Nights, like next year or the following years, I want to give a little pro tip. It seems to me historically that the Hollywood area, and if you don't know what that is, the long stretch where you're going, like you enter the park, you take that first right, away from the roller coaster.
It's where the Terminator 2 ride is.
Right, yeah, that area. That long stretch seems to have, whatever's in that zone seems to have changes, either subtle changes or extreme changes, like 7. When 7 was during the daytime, they had a slow choir version of The Beautiful People, and all the characters had their... I believe they weren't quite the mass that they were later on at night. 20 Years of Fear was in that area, and that changed subtly. Like they had all the icons running around in one area, and then...
I didn't notice that.
Subtly, not majorly.
Yeah. Well, that was our first year, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of things we didn't know.
This year, Face Off had subtle changes. There were female and male versions of the figures up on the stages.
They had completely different themes. The stages stayed the same, but
Yeah.
the characters changed completely.
Yeah. And some of them were females, some of them were males, and things like that. So just keep your eyes peeled, because Halloween Horror Nights loves to do their Easter eggs, and if you wind through that area a couple times, take a look out for things that might be different.
So I learned a lot this year doing these videos. I finally think after all this time, I finally have an idea and a solid plan going into next year. If we go, that's questionable, unfortunately. So one is we need to do way more research. We found that we did that just now.
Yeah.
We need to do way more research ahead of time. Brian likes scary movies, so he's probably going to watch some of those things. But even though that's what they want you to do, that's why they have all those tie-ins with movies. It's to you watch them, but we should know what we're talking about better. We probably have some like pre-production meetings when it gets close. And to plan the shoots better, I'm going to start building my edits before we go, so that I can get them up faster. Set up the background before I leave, things like that. Yeah,
and I do, because of that. A commenter pointed out a mistake that I made in one of the earlier videos when I was talking about Dracula Untold. I was aware. I forget the commenter's name, but I was aware that Dracula Untold has nothing to do with Bram Stoker's Dracula. I was just pointing out that you see Dracula decide to make the change, and then it fast forwards, and Dracula Untold seems to be more focused on his early days. The big mistake I made was calling the Turks his enemy, being from Turkey. The person commented, rightfully so, saying it was the Ottoman Empire Turks. It is easy for me to make that kind of mistake, though. Turks, equals Turkey, but that's not what it is. It's from the Ottoman Empire, who were a big deal back then.
So that's the kind of things that we're going to research and have notes, so we're not just winging it up here like we've done in the past. Now that my channel's getting bigger, there are more people watching, and more effort. So we're also going to do something. I have a little seed of an idea we're going to work on. It's something ties back into this called survival guides. I'm not sure what we're going to call it. But basically, we might end up with even more videos next year. Basically, it's a before you go into the house thing. So with all the research we do, like, for example, the Halloween house, there's a call to Rob Zombie Halloween.
Yeah.
So we're going to say, these are the things to know, and not give any spoilers as much as we can. But watch this show, do this, look at this picture. If it's a Halloween Horror Nights in the Past reference, we'll fill you in on that. That way you can go into the house with more knowledge, and maybe you get a little more. Yeah. So that's something we have to develop. Yeah. And then it'd be, I guess the other half would be something to watch after, which has spoilers. If you rather not see the spoilers, some people like spoilers before, some people like after. So, we're going to have to work on that. Yeah. But, so we're going to go back to shooting more videos in line for the old school fans. We kind of moved away from that this year. The street experience, I'm going to shoot them better for the backgrounds to make sure I hold the shot longer. I started working on that. This can be a little bit more. Plus a bunch of other notes I made for myself. It's like 2 pages of notes. I've never had anything close to that before this year. Now that I've gone through this process, I hope you feel that these videos are much better this year. It's always my goal. Mm-hmm. But I think this year I actually did. So I made a whole bunch of notes to make them even better for next year. So again, posting individual videos gave me a lot of analytic feedback, which has been great. For example, Bill and Ted's has over 1,600 views, which for me is a lot. Well, Masquerade only has 12, as in 12 views, not 1,200.
Yeah, but it goes to show the up and down of the interest, for the videos. Like, Bill and Ted is more of an interesting topic to more people than Masquerade is, kind of thing.
I kind of have a theory that there were more videos of the street experience because you're allowed to shoot them.
Yeah, yeah.
And also the posting order is going to change next year based on the popularity of the videos. Like I'm going to do the Bill and Ted first. Going to shoot. We're going to go in and get the audio of the very first Bill and Ted show of the year. I'm going to try to post it that night because there's basically no editing I need to do for that, and just put it up, and whenever the slow hotel internet catches up, it'll be up early. So, but I do need to find out, and why people click on the videos and stop watching so soon. I mean, I'm used to people not watching my videos all the way through, but it usually doesn't drop off as dramatically as it does. Here's what I mean. Right, I'm on the screen here. This is my analytics for the Bill and Ted video, and you can see almost within a few seconds it drops down past 50%. I don't know why. Why don't you talk about our single serving friend we met in line for the Harry Potter ride during the day?
Okay. Well, that also ties into something else I want to talk about. Let me backtrack a little bit first. Halloween night, we had seen everything. We had seen Bill and Ted. We had seen all the houses, all the scare zones. We decided to do the HHN compound scavenger hunt. So, we're going around trying to figure out the clues, and I wanted to go into Mel's Dine and just check it out. I've seen that for 4 years now and never been inside there. And so we go in, and we went out the way toward Hollywood, and there I saw one of the cars that are parked outside. I saw one of the clues. It was after dinner, THX will be your wheels for a ride. And so that yellow car right outside has a license plate THX 138.
And I thought THX meant like the Lucasfilms THX, the audio.
Yeah, so I go outside and I'm like, oh, look at that. And so he snaps a picture, and then we're like, trying to look at the other clues, and then these two ladies come up and go, hey guys, do you know what this clue is? And we don't know. And she's like, well, are you doing the Legendary Truth one? I'm like, wait, what's this? And she's like, yeah. There's another scavenger hunt for Legendary Truth. It was an app that you download, sort of like the HHN Compound Scavenger Hunt, and you download this app, and it gives you these other clues, and
the Compound doesn't need an app.
Right, yeah, that's what I mean.
That's something on the Twitter, but yeah.
The Legendary Truth one is an app that you download, and it has to do with Halloween Horror Nights, and it gives you these clues, and you have to earn all these badges, and then you show it, and you earn a ticket for the Legendary Truth. Okay, it's not a house.
That's what we were told originally. It's a ninth hidden house, but it's not really a house.
It is a secret hidden thing that you have to earn the way into. You can't just go in there. You have to earn your way, and then you go in, and you're greeted by people in character. They're scientists working for Legendary Truth, and then you watch a video for Dr. Thorndike. Legendary Truth goes back to Halloween Horror Nights 2005. That's the earliest roots, and then it got a little more steam in 2008, and then in 2010 was Legendary Truth, the Wide Knot Estate.
That's the actual house.
Yeah, so Legendary Truth has like these real long history with Halloween Horror Nights, and there's all these factions and stuff that you need to learn. But we did earn our way into the house. Well, and it's more, because it's quiet and you earn your way in, it's more of an interactive experience. You watch this video from the president.
I'd say there's maybe 20 seats in there at most. Maybe
yeah.
Not even.
And then you're taken to this room, and you have to pull these body parts out of a bag, and you take a tablet with some augmented reality, and you scan these emblems on it, and you have to put it in the right place. And then
there's different stations around the room.
Yeah.
You need to place it there.
And then you go into another room where you kind of you get to wipe your hands off, and then you go into a seance room, and that happens. You know, I don't want to spoil, you know, like too much, but you go into a seance room and then you go out into a hallway, and based on like what happened in the seance room, you're given a tablet. Okay, well, why don't we explore this hallway, see if we can find anything? And it's more augmented reality. You find writing on the walls. You see like things on the walls, and then with this tablet, you see the writing, and then they're like, okay, well, let's go in this room. And then somebody's like, hey, wait a minute, you can't come in here. No, it's okay. They found a level 1. Oh my goodness. Okay, right this way. And then you get another tablet, and it's more augmented reality, and you interact with a ghost.
It's a coffin laying out, and when you put the tablet in front of it, you can see the ghost.
Yeah.
In the coffin, even though it was moving around a little bit, on the tablet, but of course you can't see it in person.
Yeah, and this was kind of fascinating to me because this is truly interactive. It's not the same way every time. It's like, who has summoned me? Was it you, Brian?
Because what happened was when we came in, they asked the two of us, because we were sitting up front, you know, our names. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then the ghost asks for Brian specifically.
Yeah, and then, you know, like, he's like, well, do you have a question for me? And I'm like, all right, well, why do you want justice? I was murdered. Okay, who killed you? And, you know, like, so you could ask, like, silly questions and completely, waste the time of the event.
Which I would have done.
Yeah, and then, like, he might be like, oh, well, you're wasting my time. I don't have time for this. I'm getting cold. And, you know, I thought I asked important questions, and he did say, okay, you contact Dr. Thorndike, and I hope I'm saying that right. It's Dr. Thorn something. I think Thorndike, and if I'm saying that wrong, I am sorry. I apologize to your Legendary Truth fans. But anyway, yeah, it's so like, it went well, and then the scientist was like, oh, well, I was hoping he would be called, he would explain why he was called Red, because his name was Mordecai Red something. With red in quotes.
Like we were leaving, they're like, oh, I was hoping that we'd find out why it's called Red.
Yeah, but the whole thing was really cool, and we kind of learned about it the last minute.
Yeah.
But we earned our way in there.
We had to rush to get everything, but we got it.
Yeah, and it was really cool, and their hope, they explained it was like a beta test kind of thing, that they're hoping to kind of implement at least parts of this into maybe next year or the future years. So that was really cool. And then the next day, final day, we were checking out, we went on the King's Cross Station ride, where you go on the train, you see the video, and right in front of us was a lady wearing Hollow Scream sweatshirt. Actually, a hoodie, I apologize.
That's the Busch Gardens event, if you're not familiar.
And I was curious to ask about that, so I started talking with her about that, and she's like, oh, well, it's pretty good, you know, it's, and we sort of got the feeling, you know, and from several other opinions, that it's not quite as good as Halloween Horror Nights, but it's a quality event. And she was telling us about it and like things you do in there. And then she started talking about Legendary Truth, and we were like, oh, well, we did that last night. And
I actually think she was wearing the lanyard with the
yeah.
That's why we brought it up.
Yeah, and so we started talking with her about that, and she's like big time into it. Like she has one of the factions. I can't remember the name. It was the I can't remember the name. The factions have all these complicated names that I haven't learned yet. And but we were talking to her about that, and she was telling us all about it. Like there's a Facebook page you can sign up to, and forums, and the factions like to compete with each other, and you know, like there's big factions and smaller ones and all kinds of things. So yeah, we got to talk with this lady and learn all about Legendary Truth and all kinds of things, and it was kind of, for me at least, it brought a little bit of life into Halloween Horror Nights, because, you know, like, you'd seen everything, and you're like, okay, well, it's neat, but, you know, and then, you know, like, on Halloween, you know, like, learning about Legendary Truth, we're like, oh, man, this is, at least for me, it was really cool.
It was funny, it was like the scene in Wayne's World, where he just he walks up to a random security guard and gives all this information. It's like here's this random woman who we just starts to ask her about the Hollow Scream, and then, like, suddenly, there's like all this information that's pertinent to us. Is like, yeah, okay, how random.
Yeah.
So Brian has her email address, and you know, someday he might even send an email. Cause
I did. I already sent her a mail.
Wow, that was fast.
Yeah.
Usually he checks his email once a month.
Yeah. She hasn't replied to me yet, but I mean, I'm you know, sure she's gotten it. And
I was eating one of those awesome but kind of pricey tacos from the Bumble Man.
Yeah, the Bumblebee Man.
Bumblebee Man taco truck, and afterwards, and we saw her walk by.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there she is again.
Yeah.
We didn't say anything because we wanted to be creepy, but you know.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, we forgot to do something that we've done in the past that I feel is kind of traditional, and that is play air hockey. So here's some footage of our game.
In the past, many, many years ago, we went to a local Halloween house. Do you remember that?
Where was this?
It was in the fountains near here. Do you remember?
Vaguely.
Yeah, it was a local run thing. It was only one little house. You pay $10, you go through there, and we were the only people in, and it was all right. It wasn't that what.
It reminds me of we already talked about. We didn't talk about the other part with Googles and Gore.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get to that. It was okay, and for many years, I don't think neither one of us really thought about going to Halloween Horror Nights. I think
I did.
Oh, well, I didn't. Because you go through here and you're the only people, so it's a little more interactive. Like the characters kind of yell at you. I remember that. We were in one room and there was like a medieval kind of room, and there was like a cane. Hey, get out of here! And there was people being tortured and stuff. And yeah, it was okay. There's other Halloween events. We've only been really to Halloween Horror Nights, but I was kind of checking out, without really experiencing it firsthand. I was checking out, other Halloween events. Like I've been sort of curious about Hallowscream. You have heard it's not that great, and
that's how I first was introduced to the guy Tim.
Yeah, the Tim Tracker.
Tim Tracker, and who I've said before, really quickly. We were in his video.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And he was in our video.
Very, very briefly.
But you have to know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
We almost crossed, but by the time I thought of doing that, it was too late.
Yeah, but I do know, if you can't get to Halloween Horror Nights, I do know that there's Six Flags does something, Knott's Berry Farm. There should be local events. So in your area, there should be, I guess, within some sort of reasonable driving distance, a theme park that typically should do a Halloween event. They might not be as great as Halloween Horror Nights, but they should be pretty solid, especially in the theme park where there's money put into it. Curiously, Six Flags over Atlanta. I was watching a video from that sci-fi guy who I like to watch. He lives in Georgia. Six Flags is sponsored by Snickers. I don't know why they have to have an outside corporate sponsor, but okay. He and his friend went to a extreme Halloween event, and I wanted to talk about those briefly. They seem to have been cropping up in the past few years where you have to sign a waiver to actually get inside the house, because in most events, like Halloween Horror Nights,
they have warnings, but that's it. Yeah,
they have warnings, and the characters aren't supposed to touch you. You aren't really supposed to touch them. If you freak out and punch somebody, like one of the scare actors, you're going to probably get arrested and at least escorted out of the park.
This police usually are all over the place.
Yeah. The extreme Halloween events, they make you sign a waiver where you will be touched. People will be in your face. There's fluids. I would hope they're imitation fluids, like it's meant to be pee or blood or some sort of bodily fluid being sprayed onto you. There's female nudity. There's sexual situations. If that's your kind of thing, hey, check it out. Go for it. But I don't know if I dig that.
No.
I like the augmented reality of Halloween Horror Nights, where we're going into a dangerous haunted house with killer clowns and dangerous living dolls and Michael Myers running around trying to stab us in the face. I like the augmented reality of it, but I do like how you're an observer of it.
Yeah, even though girls go screaming all the time, you know that they're scare actors and they're not going to actually kill you.
Yes. I heard a story where, and I don't know it, I heard this secondhand. Where,
Over the 30 minutes.
okay.
And I guess we talked longer than we thought we did, so
Are we good?
go.
Okay. All right. So, just things happen. Sometimes characters get a little too into character, and I heard a story that somebody was with their daughter, and this character was trying to scare the daughter, and then kept trying to scare her, and the father was like, "Okay, that's enough. You scared her. Okay, can you go somewhere else?" And wouldn't stop, and it ended up in a confrontation. That wouldn't happen in Halloween Horror Nights. So my point of everything is Halloween Horror Nights is a very good quality event. You pay pretty expensive money, but it's also very reasonable, and you get,
especially for the Halloween Horror Nights Freak and Fear Plus.
Yeah, and you get a lot for what you pay. You get 8 different houses, where a local event would be a single house with maybe several rooms, and then that's it. 8 houses, several scare zones. There's rides up, and there's always plenty to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wish we could explore other Halloween events and tell you our own opinion of things, but we can't. I just wanted to take some time out and.
We only have enough money to go to one of them, and the problem is that from here, the Busch Gardens is at least as far as Orlando, so it would be another very long distance, and there's no way. It's not like we can go to Disney from Orlando, which is Lake Buena Vista. It would have to be another hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, that was my big spiel. These last 2 things should be very quick. I did get to see Rocky Horror. I do believe it is the same show as last year. I want to say there is another song that wasn't there last year, and both of us speculated that we did definitely hear the time warp twice during the show, and yes, that does happen. They do. The time warp where...
Yeah, I remember it being... And they also played it with the music when you first are coming into the arena. I'm like, isn't that a little overkill?
Yeah. So they do the time warp where it occurs naturally, and then when it's over, they have the whole cast come out and do the time warp, and the audience stands up and does the time warp, and just kind of like the cast taking a bow and stuff like that. I'm glad I got to go. It's a fun time for me.
You actually got to go on the roller coaster.
I did. It was actually open Halloween night, and I got to go. I got to meet a metal fan from California. Hi, Jared, if you see this. That was cool. That's my favorite coaster, mainly because you get to play your own music, which I think is great. I don't know why more coasters don't do that, but it's a fairly intense coaster. Like the turns are really sharp, and you go upside down, and there's that big drop in the beginning, and
You go through the Ghostbusters house.
yes. So it's a really good time. I'm glad to get because the last night it wasn't running for whatever reason, and so I picked a good time to go.
Yeah, Halloween, as we said, we planned on being in line all night, so we went through 3 houses. We're like, oh crap.
Yeah. What are we gonna do?
We didn't really have a good backup plan because we just assumed it would be busy. So you went to the roller coaster and Rocky Horror, and I went out and got my jacket in my car, and then went on the Transformers ride, and then investigated. I did that scavenger hunt for the Legendary Truth and stuff like that. And so we got a lot done.
Yeah.
that night.
Yeah. And one last thing I want to say, the Rocky Horror fans, if you ever end up watching this, I love that you guys are there. It makes the point of Rocky Horror was kind of combine like going to the theater at a midnight showing where they have like the fans acting out the movie in front of the screen. It's the same thing, kind of a combination of the midnight screening and the theatrical performance. And then in the audience are other Rocky Horror fans doing all the callbacks, and it's hilarious. I actually got lucky enough that I had 2 of them right next to me, and there were other people who had never seen Rocky Horror live, and we're laughing hysterically at all the callbacks. It was a really good time.
Which is very similar to all of you who are Bill and Ted Excellent Halloween Adventure fans. Most of them are, I'm sure, are Orlando residents. Not all of them, because we're not. So it's awesome that you guys come out and repeat all the lines. In fact, I was listening to it again today, and when that chick from Frozen usually goes, "That's a dick joke," which is a callback from the year before. They did the same thing. When she got to the line, she just stood there absolutely silent and let the crowd say it.
And the whole crowd said it. Yeah. Like at least most of the crowd.
She's like, "That's a dick joke." She's like, "Yep, that too."
All right, so I think that's about it.
Yep, so I want to say thank you for everybody who watched my videos and who commented and who clicked on the ads and who subscribed. I've had my channel from 2006 up since 2006, and from 2006 to the beginning of this year, I had 12 subscribers. And the last 30 days, I've had 20 new subscribers, which is pretty crazy.
If you're still watching, thank you very much.
So thank you for that. Thank you for the feedback. You guys are the reasons why I spent all the day putting up this, and we get into makeup, and we're still learning how to do makeup. I put all this makeup on this arm, and then I realized this is the arm with the long sleeve. I ran out of makeup. Oh well.
And this didn't turn out that great, but I tried at least. And
learning.
Yeah.
So
who knows? Maybe 5 years from now we'll have the intricate makeup like the professionals. Who knows?
Well, we'll be better anyway.
Yeah.
We keep saying we're going to broadcast live from our hotel room, and we never seem to do that. So please keep sharing these videos, and hopefully the view counts will go up enough, and we'll do that. But we always run out of time when we're up there. I don't know.
There's always a ton to do, and by the time we get back, it's at least 1 o'clock, and we got to be back up in a few hours, and it's a lot. But
maybe for in a couple of years it'll be my 40th birthday. I was going to go to Japan, but talking about scary, they haven't figured out how to contain all that radiation, so I'm not going to go. So maybe for my 40th birthday, we'll go to Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando, and we'll bring you some video from Hollywood.
Well, we'll give it a shot. We'll see.
So right now I need a better job. So that's long-term views. So thanks for watching, and see you next year, I hope.